She was born on a warm April evening in Tangier, Morocco, to a North African father and a French-Spanish mother. Her name was Amira, meaning princess, though she rarely felt like one. Her skin was soft caramel, her hair a thick halo of deep brown curls, and her voice a gentle lilt of blended accents. Amira didn't belong to one world. She floated between them, always searching for a place that would feel like home. Her father was quiet and creative, a potter who spent his days crafting bowls and vases that looked like poetry. Her mother was a pianist, elegant and strict, who taught her to walk with grace and speak with clarity. Art ran through Amira's blood like water through a riverbed. She painted every day after school and dreamed of opening a community art center for children. But life, as she would learn, had other plans. After university in Barcelona, where she studied fine arts and sociology, she returned to Morocco to help her aging father. Her mother had passed away unexpectedly from an aneurysm, and grief had silenced the home. Amira tried to paint, but colors didn't make sense the way they used to. So she focused on her father, on healing, and on helping local children paint their way through hardship. Daniel appeared like a sunrise. She met him at a cultural event in Rabat, where she was showcasing a small collection of art. He was half British, half Lebanese, a businessman visiting for a tourism development project. He spoke 5 languages. He had eyes the color of old whiskey and a smile that could coax laughter out of the most broken heart. He was the first man who didn't ask her to choose which part of her identity she wanted to be. They fell fast. Late-night walks, shared meals, intellectual debates, and gentle kisses under starlit skies. He bought her a leather-bound sketchbook on their second date. "Your hands are too gifted to stay idle," he whispered. Within 6 months, he proposed with a gold ring and a speech about forever. Everyone thought it was too fast. Her father hesitated. Her friends raised eyebrows. But Amira, glowing and hopeful, said yes. The wedding was a lavish celebration blending cultures, languages, and colors. People danced until morning. Her father wept as he gave her away, and Amira believed in her heart that this was the beginning of her new life, a brighter chapter. But just a few weeks into marriage, something shifted. He criticized her cooking, her clothes, the way she laughed too loudly. He deleted numbers from her phone, claimed it was for her safety. "We're a team now," he'd say. "You don't need distractions." She adjusted, stopped wearing the red dresses he used to compliment, stopped calling her cousin Layla. She wanted peace, wanted to be a good wife, and for a while things seemed to stabilize. Control, gaslighting, and isolation. Daniel began to decide everything: where she went, what she wore, what they watched, what she said. He started small arguments over nothing, then blamed her for being too sensitive. She found herself apologizing even when she didn't know what she did wrong. When she cried, he called it manipulation. When she stayed quiet, he called it defiance. Then came the first push. They were arguing about her studio opening. He said it wasn't the right time, said she was selfish for focusing on herself. And then he shoved her against the kitchen wall. Not hard, but hard enough. He apologized, bought her a necklace the next day, said he was just stressed. She forgave him. The emotional abuse deepened. He mocked her art, her heritage, even her voice. He would disappear for nights, then return with gifts. Said she was lucky to have him. She stopped painting. Her father noticed, tried to ask questions, but Daniel kept visits short, conversations shorter. When she tried to call her aunt in Spain, he accused her of plotting against him. Then came the second push, and the third. Bruises, scratches, but never on her face. She started wearing long sleeves in the summer. She began to doubt herself. Was she really overreacting? Was this how marriage worked? She prayed. She cried. She stopped dreaming. One evening, after a silent dinner, he slammed her phone against the wall, screamed about a text from her childhood friend, grabbed her arm hard enough to leave a bruise. That night, Amira locked herself in the bathroom. She looked in the mirror, pale, weak, unrecognizable. She whispered, "I am not this." For the first time in months, she opened her old sketchbook. The pages were blank. She started planning. She reached out to a women's support group online using a hidden email. They replied with resources, shelter contacts, and a promise that she wasn't alone. It took 3 months of preparation, small savings hidden in tea tins, a burner phone, a coded goodbye letter to her father. One stormy night when Daniel was away on a business trip, Amira slipped out of the apartment with a single duffel bag. She boarded a night bus to Tangier. At the safe house, she slept for 12 hours. The shelter worker said she had never seen someone so exhausted. Amira wept, not because she was scared, but because she was free. The months that followed were quiet and hard. Therapy sessions where she barely spoke, nights filled with nightmares, days filled with rebuilding. But healing is not linear. She had days where she smiled, days she painted, days she sobbed. She moved to a smaller town by the sea, rented a modest apartment, sold her first painting in years, used the money to buy art supplies for a children's shelter. She named her new studio New Dawn. Children came, women came, survivors came. They painted their wounds, their joy, their futures. Amira spoke at local gatherings, told her story quietly but with strength. She started a foundation for abused women in North Africa, gave talks in schools, organized healing art retreats. And slowly she became Amira again, not the wife, not the victim, but the dreamer, the artist, the light. She almost died in that marriage.
At night, Amira would write letters she never planned to send. Letters to her past self, to him, to her mother. Some were angry, others soft, but all were honest. In those pages, she gave herself permission to feel everything she had buried, and then she folded them carefully and placed them in a box labeled, "I survived." It wasn't about forgetting. It was about owning her story, on her terms. One afternoon, she saw a girl on a park bench, quiet, hugging her knees, eyes distant. She didn't ask questions. She just sat beside her and offered a gentle smile. No words, just presence, just warmth. Because Amira remembered what it felt like when no one saw your silent suffering. Sometimes healing begins not with advice, but with someone simply sitting beside your pain without trying to fix it. Her phone rang. It was a number from the past, unfamiliar, yet familiar. She paused, then answered. His voice, once the sound of fear, now sounded small. He tried to explain, to apologize, but Amira didn't need his apology to be free. She listened without trembling, and when she said goodbye, it wasn't dramatic. It was powerful in its calm. She didn't hang up the call. She closed the chapter.
She lived, she healed, and now she helps others heal too. If you're watching this and you feel lost in someone else's storm, remember, even broken wings can still fly. You're not alone. You're not crazy. You are worth saving. You are worth loving. You are worth your own story.